Hi, I'm Divya Bajaj, Vice President, London and Partners, and with me in conversation, I have Mr. David Smith Mohanty, the CEO of StratLytics India. Welcome, David Smith, and thank you for joining us today.
All right, thank you, Divya, very much for inviting me.
Great to have you with us. Let's kick off. With over 1,000 fintechs HQ'd in London, this number is higher than any other place in the world. Can you give us a short introduction on StratLytics and what your relationship is with the City of London?
Sure, absolutely. So StratLytics is about a 4-year-old startup. It started out of India in the first year, and then we expanded to US in our second year. So we've been operating in the US market for last 4 years, 3.5 years. So we have been working with a lot of the fintech clients, particularly in the field of data science, helping them with ML and AI to enable their platforms. So that is our relationship with the fintech. And my personal background is I'm a former banker, worked in Citibank, HSBC for about close to a decade in the US. So we have a lot of experience in the domain, and obviously, the fintechs are challenging the banking model. So I'm a former banker and a consultant. So that is kind of our relationship with the fintech, that we have a lot of services where fintechs can benefit. So we have been operating in the US market. So for us, the next logical choice was to open an office in Europe, and no better place than UK and London. That's kind of how we come into the picture.
That's fantastic to hear. It is a natural progression. Moving on to the current climate, David Smith, as the world navigates the uncertainty of coronavirus, and as a founder, you've had to probably pivot the most to keep up with the changing times. What have you learned as a founder during these tough times?
Well, I think, obviously, nobody plans for a pandemic. It happens. So I guess as a founder and an individual, what you have to do is you have to first, of course, you have to observe the information, and you have to put your plans and procedures in place. So first you kind of shock, and then obviously you have to get your act together. That's what we went through. And we activated our BCP plan. Thankfully, we actually had a business continuity plan where we always plan for server backup, infrastructure backup, and all that. So we immediately activated it. So my advice to the fellow entrepreneurs is, care for employees, make sure you're fully transparent with your customers, like how they're handling the situation. And third thing is, don't get bogged down by, these lockdowns, shutdowns, because this will happen in 2-3 days, right? I think it will take about a year and a half before things start to begin to go like a normal, right? And obviously it would have created a lot of destruction, but you have to stay focused. You have to really figure out, invest in your employees, invest in the right kind of skill sets that the market needs.
Absolutely. Well said, David Smith. Moving on to resilience. Now, in the last year, StratLytics expanded from Bhubaneswar, India to the City of London. We say London is the birthplace of fintechs. What are some of the benefits you see of scaling the business to the City of London?
Absolutely. I think London is absolutely, a city which is full of ideas, rich culture. A lot of the entire ecosystem is very, very rich, right? What I found out when I visited London, it's really a hub, right? It provides the entire ecosystem where talent comes in, innovation, partnership between academia and industry. Then there are also VCs who have invested very heavily into a lot of the fintechs. I heard about the success story of Revolut and many other such companies, where almost 2 billion has been pumped in 2019 compared to even the US and Europe, right? And not only that, from a talent perspective, almost more than 40,000 people are working in this particular space. So there's plenty of opportunity to get talent. This ecosystem and all the regulators and government, they're all there. And even the customer's perspective, it was very nice to see that 7 out of 10 customers in the UK, they actually use fintech services. And I was looking at the trend last 10 years, 2008 versus 2018, so much of adoption of digital transactions into daily lives. It's just a right kind of environment where there is a need for technology, and customers are adopting that. So it's a perfect place to be involved in fintech. So I really see a lot of growth potential as far as fintech is concerned in London. So for us, it was a very logical choice to go and open our market, open our office in London, and then basically get involved with fintech.
Absolutely. And looking ahead, given the next year or two that we have, what do you see is the future of fintech London and globally?
So I think a couple of things. So people talk about new normal, right? So in fintechs, I think if you're talking about payments, fintechs, gone are the days of where we'll take a card, insert it a chip, chip card, and then put a pin. What happens in the US, or I think Europe is a little bit more advanced. You're contactless, right? So contactless delivery, and then using NFC technology, how we can move the payment, and even for a lot of applications not going to be branch based, even if it's all going to be digital. Even banks are going to evolve. So fintechs, the line separating what traditional banks do and fintechs, it's going to blur, and banks will more look like a fintech, and fintech also need banking partners where they would get easier access to capital. So I see a lot of partnership between traditional banks and the fintechs that will come into the play, but fintechs will be more into the front end sales and fulfillment. And as far as innovation is concerned, a lot of alternate data, which goes beyond traditional data, is going to be part of the fintech play. And I'm sure there are a lot of players who are already using it. Like what I go and post in social media may not be used in underwriting, but it can be used for different kind of marketing activities. Of course, we need to be compliant. A lot of innovation taking place in this particular space, particularly how we can use data as a strategic asset to give relevant offer at the right time to the right customer, right? All those, I can see that this is going to be evolving, and at some point in time, blockchain and all that will also, will have an interplay with fintech. So essentially, you will see good convergence of technology, finance, and also domain knowledge all converge. They're all in separate island, and from a customer perspective, they're going to be enriched, and life is going to be more exciting as far as fintech and digital lending is concerned.
Absolutely, well said. And lastly, before we wind down, David Smith, is there anything you'd like to flag? Is there any initiative or product or service that's coming up in the near future for StratLytics that you would like to tell us about?
Sure, definitely. So we are starting to work on the alternate data space. So we are creating a data augmentation services where we are going to empower the fintech players to look at alternate data space, how we can add additional value in terms of data. From the methodology standpoint, of course, it's a bespoke model. We work with fintechs to see, look at their how they're doing the underwriting, and then how we can bring in new innovation to that underwriting space so that they can have good quality customers at a lesser risk and really optimize the portfolio. So those are some of the things we are doing. On the product side, I think we are coming up with let's say a platform where fintechs can upload their data, and of course with proper, and then we can do a very rapid prototyping of their portfolio and actually benchmark against some of the best practices. So some of the things are in the pipeline, and we will be releasing in next 12 to 18 months. But we're really looking forward to partnering with different fintech players in the London ecosystem, and we are going to really benefit a lot. I'm pretty excited to get involved in the London ecosystem, as far as fintech is concerned.
Great. Thank you so much for speaking with us today, David Smith, and we look forward to supporting your growth in the City of London.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. I really enjoyed talking to you. Have a good day.
You too.